Hello everyone, welcome to the third Winter Challenge 2024 lecture. Today we will be talking about global talent trends and future financial industry career opportunities. I think it is a really interesting topic for all of us. And I want first of all to thank Adrian Chong for being here with us today. And if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat during or after the lecture, and we will be doing a short Q&A right after the lecture. So with all this being said, I think the floor is yours, Adrian Song, and once again, thank you for joining us today.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adrian from ACCA. Today, I'm going to deliver a talk about global talent trends and future financial industry career opportunities. So tonight we're going to do it in 3 sections. The first one is Global Talent Trends, which is a report that our headquarter created recently. I'm going to discuss about the findings from this report. The second part is about the future financial industry career opportunities, and the third part will be Q&A. So feel free to think of some questions, and we can discuss it after section 2. So, Global Talent Trends report, we have interviewed over 9,000 financial professionals from 157 countries. So most of them are younger generations like us, so under the age of 43. The gender are kind of equal, 57% are girls and 39% are boys. Sectors, there are different sectors, and we have 6 major findings. The first findings from this report is that AI is a big excitement across the profession. So about 1 year ago, a lot of us have been talking about ChatGPT. It was widely spread and used during January last year. So for me, my job is about delivering speeches, seminar, webinars, and research work. ChatGPT and AI have since been my new friends. I do not fully rely on them, but it does help my work. So I use AI to do my work, and it free up some of my time to do some work that involve human touch, for example, engaging with our stakeholders. And I accept the fact that AI brings big excitement to my job. So using a key quote from the past, the first step towards change is awareness. The second step is acceptance. For accounting, it is the same. So we're aware that there are a lot of AI tools in the market that help us to do our job. Then we need to accept them. Instead of saying, oh, we don't want to use AI, it is going to create some burden, we need to learn to survive and live with AI. See how we can use AI to assist our job. So from the survey data, there are 3 sets of results. From the left to the right, let's look at the first graph. So the graph, the green color is agree, the red color is disagree, and the gray color is don't know. Our first question was, AI will enable financial professionals to add more value. We can see 78% of the respondents from our survey shows that AI will enable finance professionals to add value. It seems that AI will really add some value for the job. But at the same time, they have concerns. We can see that over 51% of the participants shows concerns about the impact AI have on their role. And 32% of the participants, 37% feel overwhelmed by the sheer pace of change. So let's look at the next slide. We see that younger people are more concerned about technology, and we can see younger people, which is like under 26, 45% of them are overwhelmed by the pace of change technology impact their job, compared to 32% on the 50 age group. And we can also see that some countries have high concern about the pace of technology changing, which impact their job. What can employers do to help the employees when they use technology? We can see that a lot of employers are implementing different strategies to manage technology change, including change management. So one of the things that employers are doing is through communication and preparing employees for technology transition to manage their expectation on how technology can help their job. Another thing that most employers are doing is through leadership. They reinforce leadership role in technology transformation, showcase that the leaders are always with the employees through this transition period, and there are nothing to fear for the employees. Also, they help the employees to reskill and upskill. What's the difference between upskill and reskill? Upskill is like they have to learn a new skill sets. For example, the use of AI, the use of digital, use of technology and machines to do their work. And reskill is something that they used to have. For example, communication skills in the past, they will probably communicate through a telephone or through some face-to-face meeting, but they need to get reskilled into some online meeting through different tools. The second findings that we have in this report is hybrid work in the profession is in slow transition. I cannot see the participants right now, but please have a think inside your mind. In the future, when you get into the workforce, do you prefer working fully in the office or fully working from home or a kind of a mix? Between these three choices, which one do you prefer? Have a think, and we can look into the survey result. So according to the survey, not every employer is convinced, but most employees are convinced about the benefits from hybrid working. We can see that in actual, the yellow color represent those who exercise hybrid working, red color represent those who are fully remote working, fully working from home, and the blue color represent those who fully work in office. We can see there are a large amount of people working in office fully, 52%. But out of this amount, 11% of the participants prefer working fully in the office only. They prefer hybrid working. But how can employers do to get convinced about their employees are working at home? Because when we employees think we are working hardly at home, our employers might think we are hardly working. In fact, we see that most working fully, the workers who are working fully full time in the office, there isn't a choice. And we get into understand the reasons behind why the employees prefer working from home, but the employers would like them to work in office. There are still something that they need to do. We can see that through the sector separation, some sectors prefer their employees to work from office because their sectors contain a lot of confidential work. For example, the public sector or the government or some small accounting firms where they still don't have enough technology or tool sets or VPNs that allow their employees to work from home securely. So they require their employees to work in office to increase the confidential issue to be safeguarded. And also, we see that in some regions, the culture prefer teamwork and working from home is less preferred in these regions. Also, in generation, we can see that the younger generation prefer actually work from office. No, sorry, prefer hybrid working, but in reality, there are a lot of them are required to work in office. So the focus that employers can do to support hybrid working include culture implementation for new hires. They can create some learning opportunities, some networking opportunities for them to do, even working from home. For example, some team meets through online tools. They can do some purposeful collaboration online, and they can do some technology and data safeguards to ensure the confidential issue is safeguarded. So these are something that employers can have in mind in order to increase the percentage of hybrid working and increase the satisfaction and expectation from the employees. So the third key points that we find out is that about the payment that professional face, so the wages, the salary. We see that there is a huge inflation challenge in the world because of the global economic situation. So what is inflation? Let me put an example. So back in 100 years ago, in 1920, 9 cents of US dollar would get us a carton of milk. 50 years later, in 1970, the same amount of dollar would get us a glass of milk only. And now, 9 cents of US dollar will probably only get us 5 teaspoons of milk. So in our situation, an accountant getting $100 a week for their salary will get this and this and this goods, but probably 3 years later, with the same amount of salary, they will give them less items. So employers need to look into this and consider some pay raise for the employees. Otherwise, they may consider this a challenge for them and they may leave the organization. We can see from the survey result that they are not satisfied with the level of pay they receive for the role they perform. We ask them whether they are satisfied about the pay, and we can see that most, actually, all sectors shows that less than 50% are satisfied with the level of pay they receive. Green is agree and red is disagree. And we also asked them a question whether they believe the best way to improve their salary is to leave their current organization. And we can see a lot of them believe leaving their organization is the way to increase the salary. So if employers want to retain their staff, they may need to consider about the pay raise. And we can see 58% of the participants say that they will ask the employer for a pay raise in the next 12 months. So we can see from different news that accountants are asking for higher pay, and we believe that higher pay for junior staff is important to keep the profession going. And we can see salaries are not keeping pace with inflation, there decreased purchasing power, challenges in saving and investing. All of this are something that employers have to keep in mind in order to retain their staff. Also, in our industry, we saw that mental health challenge show little sign of improvement. We all know that accounting is a industry with large pressure, but there are ways to fix this. 57% of our participants say that mental health suffers because of work pressure, and 47% of the participants think that their organizations are not considering employee mental health to be a priority, and 67% think that they need more support in managing their mental health. So, students, don't be worried about entering this industry yet because employers are well noted with this issue and they are working on this. So we can also see that employees from certain sectors show more concern about mental health compared to others. Why do they feel pressure, and how can they reduce the pressure? So let's look at the drivers on why they feel pressure. Some sectors have poor work-life balance. For example, due to excessive work hours, and they have blurred work-personal life boundaries. Sometimes some work require them to answer to phone call even after hours. This create a pressure for a lot of employees. Also, there are constant pressure to perform. There are heavy workloads and tight deadlines. There are risks of burnout and mental health issues as well. So there are extreme pressure and burnout risk over the long term because of the nature of the work. Also, some companies and some organizations have shows that they have lack of empathy from the leadership. Employees told us that they feel that their boss are not showing empathy on them. They feel that they are very tired and the boss just don't understand them. They don't care about the well-being and continue to give them a lot of work. And they're stressed about job securities. They're scared about losing the job, so they continue to work. And this is not right, this is a toxic workplace culture according to some of the participants, and they want appreciation and recognition from some of the boss. They're also concerned with technology. They're afraid that technology will take over their job. So as we notice that these are the concerns and difficulties identified in the report, how can employers and employees work together to fix these issues? ACCA comes along with a 5-point plan for employers to assist employees in going through this difficult time. We identified and think that workload management is one of the best position that employees can do, hire additional staff, and have better workforce planning. So help the employees out by recruiting more staff. Also, there are regular review of the workloads to ensure that there are not too many work for a particular staff. They are also allowed to say no to unrealistic deadline. It is not a one-way communication. In the future, there should be a two-way communication where employees can also say no. Secondly, work flexibility. We encourage employers to have hybrid working options, also have some time off allowance for the employees when they feel too pressure. We also want them to have access to resource. Employees, when they feel too pressure, they can get access to free counseling and talk to somebody that they trust or social workers from outside the organization to share their view, the points on how they feel about the current work pressure and get some advice on how they can release the work pressure. Also, we believe leadership play a key role in helping the mental issue faced by employees. We believe that employers can train managers on recognizing signs of poor mental health in staff and see how they can assist the staff and help them out. Also, time protection. Don't glorify overwork and don't think overwork is a must. We have to set reasonable work hours expectation. We also allowed employees to have time off for mental health issues. When they feel too pressure, take a few days off, come back, refresh, and do the work again. Also, we encourage organizations to do unrelated work activities, for example, games or some happy hours activities, etc. Another findings that we noted in this report is that D&I, diversity and inclusion, is it diverse enough? From the survey result, we saw that 73% of the participants believe that a strong diversity and inclusivity culture would be a key factor in deciding to work in an organization, and 58% agree that their organizations are inclusive enough. So not surprised, a lot of them believe diversity and inclusion is good, but they also have some concern. They're concerned that the diversity are focused on more on a certain aspects when compared to others. So what is diversity and what is inclusion? So other than just being inclusive on the race, it is also about inclusive on the gender, about the age, about their sexuality. So employees are well noted for this as well. So students, you don't need to be worried. So by the time you enter the society, this should be fixed, and we do hope these are fixed. So how can employers improve equity, diversity, and inclusivity? So leadership representation, we hope that employers can have more diversified in their leadership level, in the senior management level. They have inclusive people in there. Also, there should be unconscious bias when they think of promotion and also recruiting staff. They should have audit on how they do their decision. They should have some safeguard and training on managers for recognizing unconscious bias, which allow equal access to opportunities for everyone in the organizations. That's right. So the sixth finding is mobility. It is great for accountants because we believe those who hold accounting qualification can go anywhere. When I say anywhere, it means we can go to different sectors, we can go to different industry, we can go to different countries. But retention puzzle for employers because employees can go so many places. They can change industry, they can change companies. It creates a talent crunch for a lot of employers. We can see that 44% of respondents want to move role in the next 12 months. 68% want to move role in the next 2 years. 54% want to move externally to different organizations, and 45% want to move to different countries. It is a huge amount, showing that the qualification have a huge mobility because of the we're so agile. We can change to different industry as long as we have those knowledge. But that create a retention headache for a lot of employers. So in order to be so agile and that we can change to different sectors, we can change to different organizations, we need to equip with different skill sets. And from survey results, we can see that 54% of participants are concerned that they're not developing the skills they need for future workplace. And they believe that the best way to develop the skills they need is to leave their organization. So in ACCA, we believe that there are a lot of different ways to develop our skill sets, which bring into our next part, financial industry career opportunities. So in our other report, there are 7 capabilities that we believe future accountants shall possess, which is expertise, ethics, insight, drive, digital collaboration, and sustainability. Let me go through them one by one. Expertise is like the technical skills that an accounting shall possess, the corporate and business reporting, the taxation skills, the risk management skills, how they do bookkeeping, how they do debit and credit. This is the hard skill and the most important skills. That's why it is put in the top left corner. Next, we will move into insight. It is about critical thinking, how we analyze some cases. Like once we know there are a lot of situation happening in the organization, there are global economic issue, what's happening around the world. We all know that. But how we think deeply inside, the critical thinking, the insight we possess is also important. So this is the key competencies that we believe future accountants shall include. This can be trained up through reading different articles, different analysis from people in the news to obtain these skill sets. The next skill sets that we believe is important is the drive that we believe future accountants shall have a drive a lot to lifelong learning, to lead different changes, to have some changes in their mindset. This is also important because if they don't have this drive to lead the change, to change in themselves, to change a team, then it is hard for them to be a future leaders. Also, on the bottom left corner is collaboration. We believe it is about collaboration in the future. In the past, accounting is more on silo working. They work by themselves, do debit and credit, and pass the information to a different department. But in the future, it is about working together. We engage, we communicate with different departments because accounting is no longer about just debit and credit. It is more about thinking the business as a whole. We think about accountants as the second most important people other than the CEO. We need to give advice on sustainability, digital ethics, because it may relate it to our financial data. We talked about triple bottom line, that our organization should care about more than just profit. We also need to care about the planet and our people. That's why we put the middle pillar, ethics, sustainability, and digital as the middle pillar. So ethics, like as an accountant, we have to have ethics. Without ethics, we'll be in huge troubles because we have such a strong power. People rely on us. If we do something unethically, we can no longer be reliable. We are representing the whole profession instead of just ourselves. In the middle is sustainability. Sustainability is about making our organizations prolong. So making our like the planet, like if we do something, let me think of an example. So when we have some business decision, we want to make sure that our organizations and our planet can prolong. Even though sometimes there are some decisions that can save us a lot of costs, if it is not good for the planet, not good for the people, then we have to think twice. Also, digital, as I mentioned previously, we need to embrace digital. We need to accept the change that digital is coming. It is an era of digital, and we need to be friend with digital and learn how to use digital to help our work. About our opportunity. So in the past, we said accountant is gatekeepers, but now we will mention that accountants are value creator. We create value, we also protect value, and we also report value. In our report, we separate accountants into 4 different zones: transformation drivers, enterprise analysis, assurance providers, and stakeholder reporter. So what are these 4 career zones? We break them into 20 different career in our report. So transformation drivers are about helping the organizations to create value and transform. For example, those who possess accounting qualification can use their accounting knowledge to provide advice for organizations on how they can change their business model. We can have educators to teach future generations on how they can be a better accountants. We also have GPS professionals, global business service professionals. So a lot of organizations have people sitting in one office who serve different regions, so they can bring insights from different regions to different markets and tell and provide advice on how they can do better. We also have technology and data leaders, CFO, C-suite leaders, which can help transform the organizations. We also have enterprise analysis based on the data from the financial and accounting books. They can provide different information to the leaders and to stakeholders, and they can make decisions on whether they invest in such projects, whether they shall continue to do certain tasks, and give advice to the stakeholders. So this include finance business partners, performance managers, analysis, project accountants, treasury professionals, etc. Assurance providers are those who report value and provide a true and fair view to increase the confidence for the stakeholders to believe in the financial reports prepared by accountants. This include external auditors, ESG assurers, public sector auditors, etc. And for stakeholders reporters, we report the data because we know there is a gap between those preparing the report, the organizations, the insiders, and the external stakeholders. So the shareholders may not know what's happening inside the organizations. They really rely on the corporate reporters, the stakeholder reporter, the controller, the tax experts, and the investor relations people to tell them what's going on in the organizations through the language of accounting, in order to understand what's happening in the business and whether they should continue investing in the business. So I think the time is almost up, but you can scan the report, the QR code on the screen to get a Global Talent Trends report. And there's also another QR code on the screen for professional accountants at the heart of sustainable organizations. So that's all for my presentation. Let's see if there are any Q&A from the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really interesting actually to listen, and I think that these topics will be highly discussed in the future years since we are facing changes in the ways we used to work and that we will work in the future. There is already a question, and of course, every participant can ask a question in the chat. Feel free. We will have a short Q&A. So the first question was, when looking for a job, how to assess an employer's diversity and inclusivity?
Right. So it depends on the scale of the organizations. A lot of listed company and large scale organizations, they actually issue annual report, which is public for the investors and for everyone to look up from the stock exchange or their website. You can look up and see the D&I policy. They may disclose how they work and support the diversity from their organization.
Okay, nice. And we have some more questions. So, what suggestions do you have for using more AI tools to improve work efficiency and reduce repetitive tasks?
Mm, you mean, sorry, the first word is what tools I suggest?
Yeah, your suggestions about AI tools that could improve work efficiency and reduce a reduction of repetitive tasks. This was a
Right.
question.
Yes, so this is a good question because um I don't know how I can suggest, but I can tell you what tool I use. I use ChatGPT to prepare my speech sometimes, and then I kind of do some markup on it. Actually, I believe ChatGPT have some machine learning when I ask them some tasks and I provide some insight on it, of course, not confidential insights, they actually learn it next time. And when they prepare my next speech, they incorporate those insight in it. So I think ChatGPT is quite good for me to do my job. But it really depends on the job that you guys want to do. They may have different tools, but ChatGPT work for me.
Great. Have you tried any other tools that may didn't work or?
So I use POE. So POE is also another robot that include ChatGPT, Claude, and different. I think there are totally four different robots in it. Each robot have different characteristic. One of them is more English specific. They can correct my grammar, my English, and create some better vocabulary for my writing. Some tools will provide a better solution and creative solution for me. So really need to look up on what task I want to do and use the respective robot.
Great, thanks. So it's all matter of what do you want to do, and then search for the tool that will help you to do it.
That's
And
right.
so the next question is, I think it's a really hot question because it's the debate of the global sphere right now for the fear of AI in some professions. So the question is, do you think AI might be a better accountant? If not, why?
Well, to be honest, I don't think AI can fully replace accounting. Why? Because in the accounting world, there are a lot of things that need professional judgment that AI cannot do, at least at this stage. And I believe in the coming 10 years, we still need human beings, or even 20 years, because of a lot of professional judgment. For example, impairment. When we decide whether something is torn or worn off, we need inspection. We need to see how bad it is and to do a estimation on how much we shall impair in our accounting book. Also, AI currently they may have data up to 2 years ago, not up to date data, and accounting standards is always changing, always updating. They may not have the most up to date accounting standards, and they may not provide the most accurate solution sometimes.
Okay, nice. So AI can help us, not replace us. No, no fear yet. Let's
That's right.
yeah, we have some more questions, so let's keep it going. Uh, what are the things that accountants don't realize about themselves that lead them to not being in the best positions they could have gotten? So I think this question is like some tips about future accountants, how to get the best places.
Right. So there are a lot of accountants. We know that. A lot of accountants know debit and credit. We know how to do a financial report. It is kind of like we take it for granted. If you're an accountant, you must know this. But there's something that future accountants can do to add value. For example, sustainability. So sustainability includes sustainability reporting, based on different set of data, we can calculate the carbon emission emitted by the organizations. For example, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, or like for different data collection, we know how our colleagues go to work. We calculate the carbon emission and we report those data. This is something that is quite new. Accountants from 10 years ago, like when they went to university, they don't learn this. This is something that add value uh, to on top of preparing a financial statements. If they know something like this, employers may be impressed. They will be like, "Oh, I get you into the team, and you can help me with this. I'll be able to report this data in the future." Then this is some value added things for the individual and the organization.
Okay, nice. So I think we have so far covered all the questions in the chat, but I want to give like 1 or 2 minutes more if somebody gets a new question on the mind. And as long as we are waiting, maybe we could go back 2 slides because somebody said that didn't have enough time to scan the QR code. So if
Oh,
we can
sure.
go back, yeah.
So I'll go back to the first slide first, the
Yeah.
global talent trends.
So let's give like 20 seconds to everybody to scan the QR code, guys. The first one. And if you have any other questions, feel free to let them in the chat. Okay, I think we had time to scan this QR code and maybe
Go to the second one.
next slide, yeah. So they can scan the
Yes.
second QR code. So overall, I think we had a really nice lecture and then a discussion and Q&A about the future of accountants. We saw some really interesting, actually, data about how people right now feel, what are their fears, their thoughts for the future. And if you want to say something to conclude the whole lecture, you can say it.
Um, well, I know our participants are from high school. Um, I personally believe accounting is the way to go. I was an auditor before joining ACCA. So I think it is a good journey for me to learn a lot about the what's going on around the world. So please go ahead with accounting if you like it, if you enjoy my lecture, if you think it is a good way, if you think accounting is agile and can change different sectors in the future, then this is the place to go.
Great message. In general, go ahead and keep on going for the competition as well. Remember that peer grading is till Friday midnight, so uh, fill the peer grading form if you haven't done so. And once again, thank you for the lecture. It was amazing. Thank you guys for joining. I see no more questions, and the whole lecture was recorded. It will be uploaded, and you can find it later. And always, you can send us questions, and we will forward it if you have something more to ask. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks all.